So, guys, it's very, very important that just get out this message that I need to get out before we get into Q&A. Today is just strictly Q&A. So if you've got a question, please write it down, right? And I'm going to answer as many as I can with as much detail as I can. So get your main question down, and we'll see what we can do with it. I love Nicole's message right off the bat here. Small wins equals big confidence. Small wins equals big confidence. So what she's saying is that with every little win that we recognize, that is a win, right? And a win can be what? A win can be a cognitive, a mental win, right? Where you begin to think about something differently. It could be a behavioral win. It's something that you did, something that you're doing that normally you won't do behaviorally, action-wise. It could be an imaginative win. If something's going to show up in the future, all of a sudden you feel like, hey, you know what? The experience could be completely different than what my emotions are telling me. So what she's saying here, what Nicole is saying, and it's very, very important, is that we have to become aware of our wins, and we have to shoot for those wins each and every day, because it's all about the progress. And this message should be crystal clear. We aren't concerned about what's going on in our lives from a day-to-day basis. Okay? If you do that, you're going to drive yourself nuts. I want you guys to focus on a week-to-week basis, because when you focus from a week-to-week basis, you see things from a more broad perspective. Okay? Things aren't so narrow. So when you take Friday or Saturday or Sunday and you say, you know what, this is my day to look back and to see, how my week was in terms of a couple different aspects, right? And when you do that, you're going to notice that, hey, you know what, wow, I've made some real progress in this area, This area needs a bit more work. Next time I'm in this situation, I can begin to see it differently, those sorts of things, right? So really important, guys, right off the bat here. But Lori, hang on to ask the exact same thought in about 7 minutes, okay? The main thing that I really want people to understand today and to write down, okay, is that you are in one way or multiple ways holding yourself back from healing. Okay? This is a truth. This was a truth for me many years back, and this is a truth for many people out there today. I want you, right off the bat, to create a list. Make a list of all the different ways that you are currently holding yourself back from what Nicole was talking about. And she's talking about making progress and those small wins each and every day. So how do you hold yourself back? I'll go on the group sometimes and I can tell right away from the languages that people are using, from the optimism that they are portraying, from the understanding that they are trying to gain. I know when people are moving in the right direction. I don't care how long it takes. You shouldn't care how long it takes. This is a journey. It's not a linear path. You're on this journey for a bigger purpose, but you can't see that purpose yet, and that's okay. So the list consists of all the different ways that you're currently holding yourself back. For example, if you constantly are obsessed with your symptoms, with the way you're feeling, and all your energy and all your focus and all your concentration is going towards trying to control those symptoms, you're holding yourself back. You're not looking deep enough. Or let's say somebody comes to you and says, wow, you really have a different kind of energy this week. It seems like things are going really well for you in your life, right? And all of a sudden you go, yeah, it is, but, right? A lot of people use that word, but I'm still feeling this, and I'm still thinking that way, and my mornings are still quite difficult. So all of a sudden there you've got this massive opportunity to add on to your progress that you're making, and you screw it up, right? You screw it up. Mentally, you screw it up through the dialogue in your head. It's not a dialogue. Okay, remember, when you're doing the cognitive work, it's a statement. It's a statement. It's not a dialogue. We're not here to dialogue with the inner child within us that is still sensitized to the world. The child shows up and says, hey, are you sure you want to take on the day today? You wake up in the morning and you've got that anxiousness. Are you sure you want to take on the day today? It's not a dialogue back and forth between the adult conscious you and the inner wounded child. No, it's a statement from the adult. And the adult says, clearly and emotionally, says, you know what, inner child? What you experienced back in the day was very hurtful. You are not a mistake. You didn't make any mistakes. You are a creative genius. And we together today are going to take on this day with tremendous optimism. And we are going to continue to mold ourselves into who we want to be, not who we were told to be. Who we're meant to be, not who we were told to be. When you do the cognitive and the mental work, it is not a dialogue between the adult you and the child you. It is a statement. This is where we're going. This is what the situation is really like. This is what's happening right now. And I couldn't care less about how I feel because I'm getting to a point in my life where I question how I feel. Nobody here will get to a better place in their lives until they begin to question their feelings, until they begin to question their unconscious reactions to things. You have to question everything. You have to question everything. You have to question what you believe. You have to question who you are. Who am I? Who have I become? Have I become a mold? Have I become a replica of a parent or a bully on the schoolyard? So again, I'm going to remind you one more time that when you're doing the mental work, it is not a dialogue between the part of you that's sensitized, that inner child from way back when, that still holds the same perceptions, and you, the adult conscious you. It's not a dialogue. It's a statement. It's always a statement. But again, going back to what we just discussed, make a list of all the different ways that you're currently holding yourself back. We have to stop doing this, okay? We know the struggles. We know how difficult everything is. We know on the inside what's going on. We know on the outside what's taking place that isn't up to our expectations. We know those things. Hit the like button if you understand what I'm saying right now. Hit the love button. I got love for you guys. Show me some love and forward together. Together we are moving in the direction of a new you. And it's not something to fear. It's something to look forward to each and every day, right? And it's a daily process. So let's get into this. Let's get into one thing so far that Nick maybe has a little bit of misunderstanding towards. I will never understand the inner child reference, Dennis. There are so many people that have anxiety disorders that had great childhoods. I understand this from the other comment that you made as well. I'm looking more so at a general perspective. I'm looking at the majority. Okay, I'm looking at the majority. Now, is it possible? Now, if you ask most people, Nick, if you ask most people how, if they can recognize certain events in their lives that cause the sensitivity, they will say, yes, I remember this, and I remember this, and I remember that. This isn't just mumbo jumbo. It's based on years and years of communicating with these types of people. Okay, anxiousness. They know that they've gone through events in their lives that caused them the snowball of sensitivity. And the symptoms didn't show up right away, but they showed up months or years after. Okay? So what we're focusing right now on is the majority. Now, there are people out there that say, I've had great childhoods. You could have great childhoods. But the question is were there still events? Were there still occurrences? Was there anything like that? Now, some people might not realize consciously, okay? They might not realize consciously of the events that cause the snowball of sensitivity. And that's fine, because when you start doing the meditation work, when you start spending more time in nature, when you become more mindful each and every day of what's going on in your life, you're going to find that there's missing pieces of information that shows up that didn't show up before. Okay? And this is the crucial stuff right here, right? Now, what's also important to understand is that, and is it like, let's just narrow it down to a point here. Ask that question again, Jason, in 2 seconds. What if someone did have a beautiful childhood? What if they had a beautiful childhood? Is it possible? Let's ask a couple questions. Is it possible that they have been denying certain events in their lives that took place that may have caused the sensitivity? It's possible. Is it possible that they had great childhoods and therefore, because it was so great, because everything was so natural and loving, that they began to overcomplicate things in their lives and search for fear and search for unsafety? Yes, this is possible as well. So what we're dealing with is more so the majority of people, right? And what we want to do is, to this majority, we want to introduce reframing aspects of life where we can go back in time and safely take that child by the hand and move forward and re-experience the situation in a way where they wish it would have gone differently, right? Hope that makes sense. So you grab them by the hand and you take them through the event, and we can do one of those today if everybody wants to. I'm totally fine with that. But it's not just that, it's a multitude of things, right? It's also the responding process. What are you doing in the moment of sensitivity? So I hope I've just tackled that a little bit. And if there's any other confusion, you can definitely, ask me a question privately, and I'll do my best to answer, my friend. Jason, if the video's freezing, I'm on an island. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But it'll come and go. And then, thanks, Nick. Much love, my friend. Great to have you here. Yeah, I mean, post video, guys, most likely the post video will be super smooth as well. So, there was a couple questions I don't want to miss from the past, just a couple minutes ago. Oh, not freezing? Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. So we could definitely take, sorry guys, if it's freezing, it'll come and go. We'll do our best. I am way down a little bit north, Indonesia. So, right. Guys, this, let me just go. I'm just going to randomly just pick some questions. Why do anxiety sufferers have? I'm doing great, Michael. Great to see you. Why do anxiety sufferers have heightened sensations? I'm guessing bodily sensations when feeling upset, bored, down, angry, etc. Example, I get stressed and I start trying to take a deep breath and then the feeling that I'm suffocating. Now, we have to understand, okay, that when a person feels something such as boredom, let's take boredom for example, okay? Boredom, when someone feels bored, it's basically sending a message to your system that, hey, I want to slow things down, when in fact the mechanism on the inside doesn't want to slow down. It basically wants you in a hyper-aroused state 24/7 in case a danger arises again based on previous experiences, okay? And again, It could be previous experiences, or this could be solely out of your imagination. Most of the time, it's previous experiences. So boredom sends a signal of no, don't do that. And therefore, the system, the mechanism says, go back to what's been familiar. Okay? If you feel down, for example, and you're becoming more symptomatic, then again, that's a signal that opposes what the mechanism truly wants to do. It wants to stay in a fight or flight cycle in case the worst possible scenario does in fact show up, right? It doesn't want you to slow down. It doesn't want you to even do meditation, because these go against what's been the subconscious programs of a person. Let me give you one example as well, okay? A person goes through their life, right? They go through their life, and they believe at an unconscious level that life goes hand in hand with self-punishment, right? And no matter what happens throughout this day, or no matter what happens during this situation, upcoming situation, I have to be punished in some way. Okay? So mentally, I must suffer and I must struggle. Emotionally, I must suffer. Physically, I must feel like I'm struggling. There is a sense that the person must continue in this cycle of self-punishment no matter what they do. Now, all of a sudden, a person comes and says, I'm done with the self-punishment. I'm done with the subconscious programs that are ruining my life. You're going against years and years and years of programming, years and years of conditioning. And so the system will reject this. It will reject this. The system will reject anything that goes against what's been the norm. If anxiousness, if self-punishment, if stress, if over-worry, if continued neglect over yourself, no matter what, has been consistent in a person's life, this wants to be maintained for as long as possible. So here's my advice to you. When these sensations and such show up, okay, and we're not talking about dealing with the root cause right now. We're talking about dealing with the moment that then sort of helps with the root cause. But in the moment, stop trying to be so forceful to create change. Okay? Stop trying to implement things that go against what the system truly wants. I would recommend that you start with your speed. If you want to go fast, if the system wants to go fast and talk fast and react fast, I would start going slow. And then, aside from that speed change, right, I wouldn't force anything too harshly onto a system that's been so invested in stress and anxiety for too long. Okay, so the reaction that's currently going on, Scott, is not working. Okay, we have to look at what we need to do at a deeper level in order to learn how to communicate with the subconscious mind. And remember, the subconscious mind is also the subconscious body. Okay, they are connected. There is a feedback loop going on here. Okay, so we're not going to spend too much time on the reactions. Okay, on the reactions, on the effects. The body is the effect, right? What happens in your body, what happens through your sensations, what happens in this way is a reflection. It's a reflection of what's going on in the conscious mind, in your conscious thinking, and what's going on at a subconscious program level. There is a podcast out there, okay? I don't remember what number it is. Maybe someone can find it. But it's related to the 4 subconscious programs. I want you to go ahead and listen to that. You'll understand why you react this way, okay? And why your system is so invested in fear and worry. All right, very important. Someone had a question above. I'm going to kind of scroll up. Okay, so I think it was I don't know what this question is, but I'm just going to pin it here. Was this the one? Guys, let me know if this is the one. I've been there, Michael, crying out all the tears that we have within us. Um, Scott, yeah, you're very welcome, my friend. I'm going to try to make things very clear to you because I truly believe that this is a two-part process. It really is the understanding part and the clarity part, like, wow, I never saw it from that angle before, but it's also the implementation part, right? It's both. So it's the understanding and the implementation. Once you can truly understand, you can truly gain more from your implementation. Marian. Sarah made it. Shelley, okay. Marian's question is, so again, Jennifer's talking about what she watched, okay, for 12 years where dad beat mom, that sort of thing. I bet you anything that Jennifer is in a place right now where she can reframe those situations and express. Remember, what's the whole key behind reframing? It's discharging energy. It's just discharging language, discharging emotions that weren't able to be discharged in those moments of helplessness. Okay, we'll get into that. Marian says, can anxiety cause numbness and tingling in the feet? I feel like I'm walking on air all day. I need to know this. Well, let me ask you a question, Marian. By me saying that it is possible that this can be caused by anxiety, what will happen? What will happen? You've gotten the answer that the body can respond in any way to being in a sensitized place. It's possible, right? And so by knowing this, you have a moment there, right, where you don't have to succumb to those fearful ideas connected to the symptom or sensation. That's good. But what's going on below that level? What's going on at a root cause? What's going on? What are you holding on emotionally within that you haven't discharged? Who haven't you forgiven? Have you forgiven yourself? What kind of guilt, blame, that sort of thing are you carrying within you? Where are you carrying it in your body? These are the questions we need to answer. Dave is answering something related to a symptom, I believe. Eric, episode 179, 4 unconscious programs. Awesome. That's the one. That's the one. Dennis, have you dealt with depersonalization? Yes, I have. I have dealt with depersonalization. I have a number of different pieces of content out there, from blogs to targeting this in my program at theanxietyguy.com. Yes, I mean, depersonalization comes in different ways. And again, I believe that depersonalization is just another symptom of what's going on at a root level. I believe it's a response. I believe it's an effect. I don't believe that. I do believe that depersonalization has a lot to do with moments of freezing. Think about this for a second. Okay, depersonalization has a lot to do with moments of freezing because depersonalization feels like a loss of your soul. Parts of your soul are lost, right? The fogginess, the dizziness, the feeling like you're living in a bubble. You know, I used to interpret it in this way, where I had like glasses, like a glass, just a regular glass in front of me, and another glass there, another glass there, another glass there. It almost felt like I was looking through multiple glasses. That's how it felt when I was living with depersonalization. It didn't feel real. I didn't know what I was feeling. I didn't know what I was seeing. I didn't know what I was hearing. I was highly internal in the wrong way, period. Now, that was my experience of depersonalization. Soul loss. I would recommend looking up the book related to Wisdom of the Shamans. They talk about soul loss. They talk about soul retrieval. And it's been a big part towards my content as I kind of reframe that to make it practical and to present it in a modern way, in a less scary way. But Wisdom of the Shamans is a great book to understand depersonalization. Becca, we just went over some of the symptoms of depersonalization. So I truly believe that depersonalization is a result of, experiences in your life, maybe one, maybe multiple, that caused you to freeze, that caused you to be helpless, that caused your mind to be overwhelmed. And when this is the case, right, and this happens again and again and again, it tends to feel like it's normal, right? It tends to feel like it's normal. Many people believe that their normal is stress. They believe that their normal is depersonalization. They believe that their normal is this symptom that they wake up with each and every day, so they go and expect it. They expect it. They go through their day saying, where's that symptom? Where's the headache? It's not there. Where's the depersonalization? It's not there. Why is it not there? They start to freak out because it's a part of their identity now. Where is it? Right? And this is where you start to hold yourself back rather than understand that this is your true normal. Your true normal is the very thing that you're the scared of the most. You're scared of your true normal. You're scared of your higher self. You're scared of becoming somebody new because it's unfamiliar. And anything that's unfamiliar to you at an unconscious level feels unsafe. It's unsafe to change. It's unsafe for me to think more rational, to think more optimistic, to reframe things in this way. It's unsafe. It's not unsafe. It's just unfamiliar. It's just different. It's just different, right? And until you start to welcome the different, until you start to embrace the different, until you start to welcome the different with open arms, nothing is gonna change. Nothing is gonna change until you embrace the different and until you recognize that you have an opportunity to become someone you've never become before. You weren't this person between 0 to 5. You weren't this person when you were 13. You weren't this person in your teens. You weren't this person in your adolescence. You weren't this person as a young adult. But now in your life, right here, right now, you have an opportunity to become someone that you've never become before, and have experiences in your life that you've never experienced before. You have an opportunity to do something very, very important. And that is this: to make peace with peace. Peace lies within different. Remember that. Peace lies within different. Maybe not right away, but in a short amount of time from what I've seen, as long as you continue to embrace that different. All right. Besai, great to see you from New York. Awesome, my friend. I think Michael, you're in here somewhere. Another fellow New Yorker. Shelley has a very good point. Okay, sometimes we obsess over anxiety and the symptoms way too much. Absolutely. The question is why do we do it? Why do we do it? Ask yourself. Everybody does it differently, but everybody's trying to meet the same needs, but we're meeting them in a negative way. Now, from what we're talking about right now, if you don't have a moment of clarity, then you're not doing any thinking, right? If you're just listening to this passively, if you're listening to this passively without really thinking about what we're discussing today, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moments of clarity. You should have written them all down right now, because passive listening is not going to work, right? I can give you the path, but you've got to walk it. In order for you to walk it, you've got to investigate it further. You've got to bring it to your attention, warriors. Bring it to your attention. Sarah says, I do it because anxiety is my comfort. All right, so questions. As we scroll up and down, as we scroll up and down. Light bulbs are going off. I love it. How? New terrain, Nicole says. Becca's understanding, which tells me that she's thinking. Thinking is a skill. I didn't know how to think. I didn't know how to think for 33 years. 32, 33 years. I didn't know how to think. All I knew was to unconsciously react and to follow what I thought was real. I didn't know how to think. Okay? So we're now learning how to think. Jason, we've talked about this weeks ago, man. If you haven't created a structure or plan, I'm not the one. I'm not the one to motivate you. I'm not going to motivate you. That's not what I do. Okay? I'll create some inspiration here and there, but everything I'm saying is practical. Sit down, create the plan. Go on YouTube, okay, and look up Plan Anxiety Guy, okay? I got 2 videos there that will help you create the structure of what you need, morning, afternoon, and evening. Question is are you worth it? Do you believe you're worth it? Because unconsciously you're not making the plan because. What is that because? Brandon, welcome, my friend. And Jason, I'm going to be hard on you. I'm going to be hard on people that need to be hard on, right? And so, but yeah. Brandon, how are you, man? Does anxiety follow a pattern? These are great questions that everybody can definitely relate to. Does anxiety follow a pattern? For example, reoccurring during certain times of the year? Yeah, absolutely. Here's an interesting pattern. SAD, if we talk about SAD, we talk about the winter showing up, right? I mean, as soon as the winter showed up, as soon as the rain showed up wherever I was in Canada, right? I was like, ooh, it's time for depression, right? It's time to get anxious. Oh, I hate this weather. Should I move? Blah, 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 right? And so the anxiousness and the worryful patterns of thinking, feeling, and doing continued forward. And honestly, it wasn't until I started to reorganize the very thing that was causing me those things. I started to look at the rain. I started to go outside. I started to jump up and down in the mud, right? I started to do those things. I started to recognize how peaceful the rain was. And this could be a time of the year. This could be somebody's shirt that you see that you unconsciously react to. This could be the same haircut that you see in someone that reminds you of your abusive father. This could be anything consciously and unconsciously that you recognize that cause you anxiousness, Brandon. So anxiety is patterns because anxiety is associations. Anxiety is pairings, okay? So when someone feels anxious, there's obviously a pairing to something, right? This time of year or that person or this environment or that situation or this career or this business. And what we tend to do is we tend to believe what we feel, like I mentioned in the beginning, right? We tend to believe what we feel. Oh, I feel anxious about the rain. Therefore, the rain is X, the rain is bad, or the rain is harming, or whatever it is that we make up in our heads. Till we get to a place where we recognize that a feeling is just one option. Okay? When you feel something, it's just one option. And we need to understand where that feeling comes from. A feeling doesn't just show up. A feeling is based on previous experiences, one or multiple, most of the time multiple. And these experiences are times in your life where you were more helpless and you didn't have the resources to deal with what was going on, right? So to trust a feeling is absolutely absurd. It's absolutely absurd to trust how you feel. And it's even more absurd to act on that feeling. It's even more absurd to think in line with that feeling, right? So, since a feeling is just one option based on previous experiences that were overwhelming, we can begin questioning those feelings. We can begin questioning our previous actions. We can begin questioning the conditioning that people have provided us, right? Knowingly and unknowingly from our past, authority figures, parents, and that sort of thing. But anxiety is a pattern. Anxiety is pairings. Anxiety is associations that you've made. Yes. Yeah, I'm going to make that one a quote, Nicole. Right? Sometimes stuff shows up in my head. Who knows what's going to happen in these lives? Dennis may say all sorts of weird, funky things, right? I'm not going to say what I said earlier, but you know what I'm talking about. I'm still laughing about that one. Woo! Party! Shame on me. Shame on me. You're welcome, Brandon. You're welcome, my friend. Janine, there's two interesting questions. I'm in a constant panic mode. I don't ever feel relief. Is this harder to overcome? No, not necessarily. My question would be, what are the conscious and the unconscious formulas that you're using that's creating the panic in the first place, right? So that's a question we can go deeper into if we have time. Michelle, I picked this one. It's a very good one. Can you speak a little bit on creating a new identity? So the first thing that we have to understand, guys, and you're going to hear me move in this direction within the coming weeks and months and even years, right? I want to take people out of the world of overly focusing on their anxiety, right? This comes with a certain amount of hesitation from people, right? What do you mean, Dennis? We're supposed to deal with our anxiety. That's why we're here. You're the anxiety guy. Okay, I get that. But anxiety is a result. Anxiety is an effect. Anxiety is a manifestation of something due to something else. So, creating an identity. In order to create an identity in the beginning stages, we have to question the one that we've become. Okay? Write all this down. Okay? First thing you want to make sure that you do is you want to make sure that you question who you are at this point in your life, right? So who am I? Who really am I? If I really look deep and spend 10 minutes on myself and write this stuff down, who do I believe I am? What do I believe I deserve? How do I view people in general? How do I view life? What is my life metaphor? Right? Is life an exciting roller coaster ride? Is life a long, dark tunnel? You know, what is life? Get to know your current identity first. Once you do that, you begin to pick apart some of the things that you don't want to carry towards your new identity. So you make a list of things that need to go, right? For example, on the opposite scale of things, what do you want to keep? What do you want to let go? I want to keep my determination. That's a part of my old identity. I want to keep that. I want to keep my ability to be patient because I'm a patient person with people. These are traits. These are components that make up your identity, right? I want to keep my self-love, right? I have a tremendous amount of self-love for myself. Okay, let's keep that. But I do want to rid myself of these different identity traits. Okay. The one where I've attached worry to being safe. I want to detach from that because now I'm starting to see through what worry truly is. Worry gives me something to do. Worry provides me a sense of control. The things that we're going to get rid of from the old identity are twofold. Write this down. The addiction to suffering, as far as the unconscious need to continue suffering, number one. And the addiction to control. There is people feel like there's a need, right? That they need to control people. They need to control their future. They need to control the present. They need to have total and utter control of every little thing that happens. That's why they never step into the learning zone. Okay? They're always staying within their comfort zone. And the learning zone is just outside the comfort zone. So we do those things, right? We get clear on what we want to keep and what we want to get rid of from our old identity. Now what we do is we find a model. As we find a model, write this down, we find a model, we say, this person, either online, in the way that this person thinks, in the way that this person reacts or acts, what this person believes. When you think about your model, don't think about just what you see on the outside. Think about what may be going on the inside. Okay? So I'm getting to know my model very, very well, right? Your model can be anyone from people, who have provided wisdom from the past. Buddha could be your model. Jesus could be your model. I don't care. The Rock could be your model. I could be your model. Someone else could be your model. Your dad could be your model. Your brother could be your model. It doesn't matter. That's your model. So around your model, you're creating your identity. So as you go through the day, you begin to focus on a couple different aspects in the creation of your new identity. These are the questions you ask yourself. Number one, how would my future identity, how would my model think in this situation? How would my model think in this situation? How would my model perceive what's going on right now, right? And this going on could be something going on in my inside world as far as a symptom goes, or it could be something going on the outside, something that's happening situationally. I'm with a lot of people, I'm in a meeting, I'm driving, whatever it is. How would my future identity and my current model think in this situation? Secondly, how would my future identity or my model speak in this moment? How would he or she speak? What sort of words would she use? Right? Would she use words such as suffering, control, always, I'm always this, I'm always that, I should be doing that, but I'm not, I should. Or would your model use words such as transition? It's okay that I'm here right now because I'm in a transition. Power words. So the second thing is how you verbalize your communication. Thirdly is what would your model, okay, or your future identity do behaviorally. What's interesting with this one is that while I was in the process of manifesting into my new identity, I remember, and this is something that each and every one of you should be doing, planning first and then doing. I was really scared of people judging me or disagreeing with me. I was really scared of confrontation. So here was a challenge. I said, you know what would my future identity or my model do for this? So what I did was I realized that I've got to make sure that I place myself in situations. Yes, Sarah, absolutely. I have to place myself in situations where I can prove to myself that what I've believed is true for so long is in fact false. I need to place myself in situations for long enough periods of time to prove the opposite of what I've believed for so long, and what I've believed has kept me behind. So I went to the mall. And as I went to the mall, I wore the most ripped up shirt there was. I wore pink shorts. I literally did. And I wore pajamas on some days. I, I had a weird kind of, you know, unbalanced hairdo when I had hair back then. Some parts were longer than others, right? I approached some people. I did these things because I wanted to prove to myself that people cared less about judging me, and they were too caught up in their own problems and what was going on in their own minds and bodies. But I couldn't just think it. I had to place myself in these situations. And this is very much a Stoic approach based on the teachings of one of my biggest mentors, which is Seneca. He mentions this in some of his teachings. Yeah, yeah. And I also slept outside for a number of days. A number of nights I slept outside. I said, I'm scared of poverty. Okay, go be poor. All right, so I went and I was poor for a number of nights. I mingled with the homeless people. I learned plenty. I met so many people that I normally wouldn't have met, blah, blah, blah. And then the fear of poverty or whatever, finances, left me. Because I proved it to myself. I didn't just think it, but I placed myself in these situations. So, how would your model think, or how would your new identity think? What power words would this person express? What sort of actions would this person take? And finally, okay, in the creation of this new identity, how would your new identity imagine? Someone just mentioned it. How would your new identity imagine your future and future situations happening throughout the day? Okay? So, your new identity would look into the future and consciously imagine rather than unconsciously imagine. The biggest problem that we have right now is that we are unconsciously imagining. Okay? We are allowing our imagination, we are allowing the pictures in our head to float around, we are becoming emotional and attached to those things, and we are again creating a sense of lack, a sense of negativity, a sense of pessimism, a sense of fear. Right? We cannot allow ourselves to continue to unconsciously imagine. If I could say that there's one skill that you need to master that will change your entire life, it is based around visual imagery exercises. On YouTube, there's a whole playlist on this stuff. Visual imagery sessions, write that down. Okay, go find that playlist and embark on that journey each and every day. In fact, multiple times a day, do those videos. Fully. Seneca is a past Stoic who created all sorts of teachings that we now call CBT. Okay, so you can look up books on Seneca, you can look up books on Marcus Aurelius, you can look up books on these past Stoics, which in fact I would say is the most important teaching that an anxiety sufferer can put themselves through. So, Michelle, that's a glimpse into creating a new identity. Okay? Now you'll get a feel for the direction that you're going. Now you'll get a feel for how wrong you've been living for so long. How wrong it is that you've been believing things that have been true. I just put out a quote, and you've got to question your reality, and your reality is based on your identity, right? Whoever you believe you are will color the world that you see. Whoever you believe you are will color the world that you see, okay? So if you identify with someone who is in a flow state where things just happen to him or her, right? I'll put in the work, right? I'll do the progress and that sort of thing. Stephen, great to see you. See you again, my friend. If you believe that you're that kind of person, things get easier. You don't feel like you are struggling through life. You don't feel like you're fighting through your problems anymore. It's a sense of being in a flow state, and this is going into my second book coming up in 2020, the flow state area. You should be living your life in this place. You should be living your life where you feel like when you plant the seed of what you want imaginatively, okay, and through your thinking, that you can give it enough time for that thing to manifest. All right, as best as I could put it. Jason, absolutely, man. The 5-minute journal should be done every morning and every night. I believe it's a great starter. I believe that it can get you on the path towards creating a different, more targeted journal for where you're going in your life. But I believe, like I used it for, I think it was like 4 to 6 months, and it was fantastic to get me, just to kind of clear my mind and to move in the right direction. The 5-minute journal, absolutely. You can download the app. I believe there's a book form to it as well. But absolutely. I mean, anything. I'm big on structure, Jason. I'm big on structure. I'm big on systems in place. Like in the morning, here's my habit that's going to move me towards my new identity. In the afternoon or whatever, as I'm going through the day, this is going to be my response to things that are sticky. And in the evening, when I come home, this is the way I want to review the day, or this is the meditation I want to do. These are the things that that are going to move you in the right direction until you no longer have to do them consciously. Like I'm at a place that's very experimental at this point, very experimental, right? I do meditate every morning. I do go for a walk in nature every morning. But next week could be different. I could get the sense that I need to do something different. But either way, it's moving me in the direction that I need to go. Right? But I know deep down in my heart that when you do create systems and you stick to them, right? You stick to them as you see through all the garbage reasons for why you might not deserve it, right? A lot of people don't stick to a system or a structure because they don't believe they deserve change. They don't believe they deserve happiness. They believe that they have to work really hard for these sorts of things. They believe that they have to earn it. These are subconscious programs that are false, based on your previous conditioning, right? So we need to get over that hump first. Why do you do what you currently do that's causing you anxiousness? And why is it that you sabotage the good when it comes your way? Answer those questions, my friends. You got it, Jason. I mean, you have a massive opportunity, man. Massive, right? And I think some people need more tough love than others, right? I don't think everybody needs it. I think it's up to the person themselves to give themselves tough love if they really want it to last, okay? Because I believe that if you're following someone, a mentor, a guru, whatever it is, and you're constantly feeling like you need to keep going to that person in order to feel the tough love, or you need to feel the motivation from that person, you need to escape that world now, right? Because that drive and those reasons have to come from you. They can't come from anything or anybody else, because it's not going to last. You're going to find yourself going in and around that cycle. It's not fair to you. It's got to come from within. So let's go into one or two more questions here. Delaney, feels good. Something's going right there. Michelle, you're so very welcome. It's a good starting place. And Michelle, from there, that when we talked about your identity, from there, you're going to gain tremendous amounts of clarity, right? And if you continue to follow that clarity and that inner voice within you that you've probably been neglecting for so long, you're going to find what to do next. It's going to come to you. It's going to come to you. Right? So instead of finding all the answers on the outside, when you're in a flow state, what starts to happen is you start to trust that you have the answers on the inside. This is a magical place to be, a magical place, my friends. And so many people out there are constantly looking to the outside for the answers. And I have those answers and I can provide them to you. But you also have to trust within, when a situation arises, what do I do, or how should I go about this, or that sort of thing. That kind of inner trust, but also that outer faith. I'm going to talk about faith a lot in my new book. Those two need to be there, and you cannot fear it. You cannot be scared of it just because it's new, just because it's different, right? There has to be a God in your life, period. Damn, I'm like I'm talking fast today. Usually I'm like, yeah, but today I'm like, whatever. However you feel, just, Dennis, just do your thing. Low level laser therapy. I've never heard it, Eric. I will admit if I don't know something. Don't know. Lasers are cool though. Warriors, lucky you're on board. All right, you're gonna see both. Um, I want to finish with this here. What time is it? Oh, I have a watch. 10. 10 a.m. Do I have coffee? I drink cappuccinos now in the last couple of months. I don't know. While writing my book, I found that it gives me a little bit more oomph, a little bit more clarity, right? So I'm always experimenting and trying new things, but I'm a big tea guy. I'm huge on tea. I'll try any tea, right? I'll come to your house and I'll try the tea that you make for me. I won't even question it. What's in it? I don't care as long as it says tea. I want to finish with this, guys. I want you to really ask yourself, what are 3 things that really stuck out to you from this Facebook Live? What are the 3 things that really spoke to you? And try to relate it to what's going on in your life right now. Okay? And it's about putting the puzzle pieces together. It really is. It's about understanding why you react the way you react. It's about understanding why you think the way you think, right? At a deeper level, what kind of gains are happening based on these reactive and anxious ways of thinking? What are you gaining from them? Is it a fear of responsibility? Is it a fear of passion? Is it a fear of love? Is it a fear of commitment? Is it a fear of not experiencing pain when in fact your whole life has been painful? Is it a fear of peace, since we don't really know what peace really is, some of us, many of us? So I want you guys to just jot down the 3 biggest things that you've taken from this Facebook Live, all right? And watch this again and again. I'll most likely post it on YouTube. And I want each and every one of you to know that you're on the right track. And when good comes your way, whether that be in here, whether that be in here, or whether it be out there, I don't want you to question that good, okay? Do not question that good, but in fact, instead of questioning it, I want you to remind yourself that you deserve it. I want you to, in fact, remind yourself that any good that comes your way is exactly what you're manifesting and who you're becoming in this life right now, okay? Michael said it. You need to own your new identity, all right? And I'm going to leave you with that because that's all you need today. You don't need anything else. All you need is to go over and just look at what you have here right now with us together. I love you guys so much. I'll see you guys on the Facebook support group. If you're not on there, please go ahead and join right now. If you have any other questions on the End the Anxiety program, Life Mastery program, theanxietyguide.com. The URL has changed. Anxietyexit.com still works, but theanxietyguide.com. Read the blogs fully. Listen to previous podcast episodes. Learn more about the programs, and I promise you that in a short time, you are going to become what you consciously want to become. That's where we're going, guys. Hit the like button. Hit the love button if you've enjoyed this Facebook Live, and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.